itsjustmechig, and it's Friday. What's up, y'all? It's your girl itsjustmechig, and I'm back with another video. First of all, happy, I think I'm a day early, but happy New Year. Actually, I'm 2 days early. Happy early New Year's. We got one more day left, but we made it, y'all. Woo! Whew, barely. So before I get into this video, first of all, just some housekeeping things. I'm your girl itsjustmechig. Hi, nice to meet you. 2, make sure, because you're gonna love it here, make sure you go ahead and hit that subscribe button below. And make sure you find the bell that's next to it, below it, around it, somewhere, and click it just so you're notified as soon as I drop videos, which I drop uploads every Friday, Lord willing. Just do that real quick, like, give you some seconds. Okay, cool. Now that that's out the way, getting into this video, I think I will go ahead and speak for everyone when I say this year was a year, okay? And I really debated, because y'all know I'm a beauty influencer and getting back into beauty more. I was gonna do the wig and the makeup, and I was like, you know, I'm gonna pull up to this video just how this year pulled up for me. It was rough, okay? It was a struggle. Let's go ahead and get into this year, y'all. For me, this year was more so a year of awareness. Aware just of surroundings, aware of energy, aware of self, aware of just so many things. Forgive my phone wherever it is. And it was one of the toughest years for me, next to the year 2018, because as y'all know, that was the year I lost my mother, and that was a tough year. But this year was consistently, it was giving that year a run for its money. Like, it was rough. But from this year, I grew immense gratitude and a love and appreciation for myself that I have never had before in my life. I feel like this year was needed. So though I could complain about this year, I'm thankful. I'm grateful. I made it when I didn't think I was gonna make it, and I can't do nothing but thank God. So yeah. And also, I think I wanted to mention that this time last year, you know, we do the whole like New Year's resolution thing. This time last year, I decided that my New Year's resolution for this year, for year 2022, that I just wanted, the only thing I wanted as a resolution was to, with each month that comes, I want to be better than last month. I want my February to be better than January. I want my March to be better than February, and so on and so on. And though this year gave it to you, girl, it really socked it to you, girl. I can honestly say that I ended this year living up to my resolution, because now at the end of this year, I'm so thankful. I'm in such a better place. You know, life has its ebbs and flows, and you're gonna have those good and bad days, and they still, you know, go back and forth with your girl. But compared to the beginning of this year, I am in such a much better place mentally, physically, emotionally. We working on the financial thing. We working on that. It's getting ready to flow. I just want to go ahead and recap this year for me. So honestly, tomorrow would make exactly a year to this. But December 31st of 2021, I remember just having immense panic attacks all day. And I really felt it that night, you know, closer to time where it was getting ready to be midnight and New Year's, and everybody's usually up and woo woo, yay, midnight, whatever. I was in the house, rather going in and out of the house, trying to gasp for air and like, I don't know, just having like little series of panic attacks, and I felt horrible. I just wish that I could be like out and enjoying, you know, just not in the house. Like every year since I was a kid, I've always been in the house on New Year's, and I'm like, I want to go out and have fun, and like, you know, and instead I'm sitting here having a panic attack trying to go outside and get fresh air and feel better, and ultimately just laying down and going to sleep early because I felt so bad. And it was a downhill battle from there. So I was the sickest I've ever been this year. Shortly after that episode, I started reading like Queen Afua's books, Heal Thyself. And I started learning about detoxing, and so I wanted to feel better. So I tried, you know, doing a clean raw food detox. The 3rd day, I felt horrible. Worse than I've ever felt in my life. I was so weak. I felt I wasn't eating. So I made doctor's appointments on doctor's appointments on doctor's appointments, and quite a few dollars of bills in trying to figure out what was wrong with me. Other than my iron being low, it was extremely low. Got that fixed. It just was a struggle, like feeling like I feel horrible, but being told like you're fine other than your iron. Like there's nothing wrong with you. It was the worst, most gaslighting, feeling, triggering thing ever for me this year. But I can say in my lowest and my sickest that I learned the most about myself. It's as if, and the sickness wasn't even like, you know, cough, sick. Now I'm aware, I think it was energy maybe. I don't know. Honestly, it's a lot of things. I think that as I've read this year, I've learned about how we hold traumas and unresolved issues in our bodies. And for me, I think a large amount of that, yes, was iron, and some nutrition, but I think a lot of it was that I was holding so much baggage on myself that it just was starting to come out just in how I felt. So that forced me to start unpacking things. So, which brings me to my next thing, starting our podcast. This year, we started our podcast, if you're unfamiliar. Because I wrote the book, I Lost My Mom, Now What? Memoir of a Motherless Daughter, I decided to I always wanted to start a podcast for my book, but and shout out to my husband for pushing me, because like I said, the beginning of this year was horrible. I felt worse, and I kept trying to push the podcast off because I felt horrible. But he was like, no, we're going to start this podcast, and we're going to start it now. We said the deadline was February. It's going to be February. But I really started this podcast because around the time of me getting sick, I also felt like, you know, I just had a lot of unresolved issues that if it wasn't my health, maybe it was me needing a therapist to unpack certain things that I've never really talked about. And after just roadblocks and not being able to find the perfect person, either they cost too much, either they weren't a network, or either it just didn't work out, it forced me to really start using my podcast as therapy for myself. Though the podcast started as a podcast about grief and working through grief, you'll also see other topics that we talk about. That's also what I battle with on a day-to-day basis. So I know we had one on ego and generational traumas, and you know, and these are things that we actively go through, me and my husband, on a day-to-day basis, and we're like, this is our therapy, so we're bringing it to that. But yes, all of that uncomfortableness brought our beautiful baby. I Lost My Podcast. Follow I Lost My Podcast on YouTube, by the way, because season 3 is coming quicker than you know. I will say this was the toughest year from the podcast, even with like in my marriage, because like I said, I was sick. I battled with depression for the first time, like real depression. Like I was in a dark place. Like I really felt like I probably needed to be admitted. I had thoughts I never had before. The anxiety, the intensity of the anxiety that I had, it was crazy, y'all. It was so crazy. So much so that like I seen my husband cry for the first time this year as a result of just how tough it was. And I didn't realize how me going through depression and anxiety, when I unpacked those things, I realized that, you know, they were things I was holding on to. I didn't realize how it affected my husband. When I saw him break down, that's when it clicked. Like, so after that, we kind of started season 2, and I think that's why we did season 2 the way that we did for I Lost My Podcast, because we started really unpacking, like, okay, this is an issue, this is an issue, this is an issue. Let's talk about that, and let's talk about it on camera, because we have talks like that on a day-to-day basis, but let's bring it to our audience, because maybe y'all go through the same things as well. But from that and the podcast, that's where the real healing started for me. I can honestly say this is the most healing year that I've ever had in my life. The good, the bad, the losses, the wins, I'm so grateful for it. It feels like it's worth it. I definitely explored more vulnerability, specifically in my marriage too, because my husband is my best friend. I'm thankful to have the partner that I have, the type of partner that I have, that's always gonna keep it real with me, and vice versa. Even a grieving standpoint. So I know my podcast, I initially wanted it to be about grief, but I was able to be honest with grief, and I think, so just being honest, I feel like this year as a whole, even outside the podcast, I sat and tackled grief for myself a little bit more. I still have a ways to go, but I commend myself for tackling grief the way that I have, because if you don't follow me on my Facebook, because I'm a lot more candid with transparency posts on my Facebook with grief and losing my mother, a part of me in real life, my day-to-day life, is more avoidant when it comes to thinking about her. Like, I struggle looking at pictures of my mom sometimes. I struggle just sitting and thinking about her sometimes. And I think like we just had the holidays pass. Christmas was her favorite holiday that she just did the utmost for every year. And I think a part of me subconsciously, the last 2 years at least, I try not to think about that. I just avoid that, because if I do, then I'm going to be super sad. So it's like, on one hand, I have dealt with grief this year, but I still have that avoidance side that I gotta dig deeper in, and I will on my podcast, y'all. Like I said, I'm growing, and I'm sacrificing my real life to you guys in hopes of that you will also dig deeper in yourself and work on things that you may similarly be struggling with too. More growth to come. We traveled this year. I remember, I want to say April maybe. We traveled to Atlanta. Was one of the places we traveled to. I've been trying to move to Atlanta, let's be clear. Atlanta just feels like Africa to me. I've never been to Africa and I want to go. You can smell the opportunity in the air. There's a lot of things bad down there too. I know it's not all sunshine and rainbows, but it's something about just being submerged in a land of opportunity and freeness that I've been ready to move. My husband wasn't quite convinced, and so we went down there this year, and I think I convinced him. He was ready to move. So that is a goal of mine. If you saw some videos back, we did a vision board, and Atlanta is like smack dab in the middle. I'm moving there eventually, okay? Maybe not next year, but eventually. But I will say that trip sparked us. We did decide next year for sure we are moving out of Nashville. May not be to Atlanta, but for sure we are moving out of Nashville. I celebrated my 1-year anniversary of being an author. Woo, 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 woo. I have a second book in mind for myself, and me and hubby are working on some things, so stay tuned for that. I will say it feels amazing to have a year as an author that my book has been out, and my book low-key did numbers. I'm not gonna hold you. Like, I was shocked. Like, I think I've said before in my initial video when it released, I was just expecting to like sell like 3 or 4 copies. Y'all low-key, listen, I'm so appreciative. That's all I'm gonna say, because the numbers I saw, I was like, oh my god, that many people read my book. Thank you, Jesus, thank you. Thank you guys for that. That feels so amazing. Also this year, I got way more focused, and as a result of that, my vision has never been clearer. I now know who I am. I now know what I want. Everything's just so much clearer. Like, how I thought the year 2020 was gonna be, this is how I feel like 2020 should have been, because I went through so much this year. But it gets to a point where this year, even the end of the year is not perfect. Like, we still have here, the last couple of days have been having random things happen that's like, ugh. But even with that, it's like everything good or bad that happens, now we don't get upset. We just realize that, okay, this is for a reason. This is divinely happening for a reason. And we can see the reason, if that makes sense. Even with that, gratitude. Thank you. We needed it and we're thankful. Ultimately, like I said, this year was a year of growth for me. I did quite that. I did a lot more than I'm willing to openly give credit for. In this new year, I want to go ahead and say that my 2023 New Year's resolution is the same. I want each month that I am thankful to see and live, I want just to be better than the next. I want to always level up with each month that comes. I want to level up in my health and my mind and my body and my soul and spirit, my energy. I've never been so aware of energy, and I'll make more holistic health videos about that. Yeah, I'm just leveling up in those ways. I'm leveling up in confidence in my work, not doubting myself, just taking it to the moon, y'all. Like, this year, I'm excited. I'm not gonna speak on too much, but just know that so many good things are gonna happen for me and my husband this year. I'm manifesting, and it's not even about manifesting because it's already mine, it's already here. I was given a vision for a reason, and so all I can say is continue to grow with me, Continue to be there for the journey. I'm thankful for you guys. My channel has grown this year. Even though by a few subscribers, I'm still thankful for y'all. If you made it this far in the video, thank you. Like, y'all just be sitting there listening to me talk, and I love that. Like, thank you. I might start a few businesses or so in this new year, but ultimately, we're gonna be the best versions of us this year, okay? We're gonna get fit, them abs we've been trying to, that we make our New Year's resolution every year. We coming for those. That booty that we always wanted, coming for that. The outfits, everything you want next year, not only for myself, but for you too. You watching this video, yes, we coming for it, okay? Not gonna hold y'all, I'm gonna let y'all go. I love y'all, Happy New Year. Love on each other, but love on yourself most importantly. And I'll see y'all next year. Bye y'all.